It started with a box, old, dusty, worn with age. It sat forgotten in the attic of a house in Virginia. Beach, the same city where Edgar Cayce lived most of his life. According to whispers, he left behind more than just prophecies. This box had no name, no inscription. But inside it held something strange. A cloth-wrapped folder. An envelope marked, "To be opened only after 70 years. Someone opened it. Someone couldn't resist. And now, the contents circulate through the hidden corners of the internet, deleted, restored, vanishing again. Some say it's a hoax. Others swear it's real. But those who truly knew Cayce, his voice, his energy, his calm in the face of the unknown, insist this is him. This is the real thing. A hidden interview never meant for the public. It's a transcript from 1944, months before his death. A conversation between Cayce and a mysterious guest. Not a reporter, not a scholar. Just someone who knew how to ask the right questions and wasn't afraid of the truth. The topic? The 7 levels the soul travels through after death. But the strangest part is this: he didn't just speak of death, he spoke of our future. Your future, mine. He said, everything we know about death is a facade. The truth only begins after, and no one is ready. That's how it begins. Level 1, transition. According to Cayce, the first level is like a slow awakening. It's like trying to wake from a heavy dream, every movement like swimming through syrup. Souls here don't realize they've died. They still cling to earthly fears and illusions. They chase the light but find only shadows of their own pain. Some stay stuck here for years, even decades. Level 2, reflection. Here the soul relives life, not from its own eyes, but through the eyes of others. Every joy you gave, every pain you caused, you feel it all. This is the most painful stage, Cayce said, and also the most vital. From this place, true repentance is born, or final oblivion. Level 3, awareness. This is where the soul begins to understand. It meets beings of light, not angels in the way we imagine, but luminous guides who communicate through energy, not words. They show images, emotions, entire lifetimes in flashes. Many who reach this stage return to Earth, dreamers, visionaries, seers, like Cayce himself. But after this point, the levels become forbidden. Cayce warned, very few ever go beyond, and he never explained why. Level 4, the mirror corridor. Here begins the most haunting level. The soul doesn't just see what it was, it sees what it could have been. Every choice not taken becomes a living, breathing reality. In one version of you, you forgave. In another, you chose revenge. In another, you never married. In another, you took a life. Each path you didn't walk is real. Cayce claimed, not metaphorical, but spiritually alive in a shared energetic field. And here, you face the full weight of who you truly are, not who you thought you were. You meet the God within, not as a judge, but as a witness. And you are the one who judges yourself. Many souls turn back at this level. Some can't bear it. Others continue. Level 5, infinite time. Here, time dissolves. There is no past, no future, only now. Cayce described this as the ocean of all probabilities. This is where his prophecies came from, not visions, but energetic knots in the sea of time. One of them, so clear it shook him, was a rupture in the middle of the 21st century. He didn't say exactly what would happen, but the images, cities without power, people in masks, children born with memories of other lives, countries vanishing, not from war, but from the collapse of meaning. And it all hinges on whether humanity, as a collective soul, can pass its own level 3, awareness. Because, he said, Earth itself is a soul, and it too has to evolve. Level 6, separation of the shadow. At this level, the soul sheds everything that is not its essence. Fear, shame, anger, ego released. Not destroyed, just let go. Cayce said it's like becoming pure light. And only then can the soul finally come face to face with the Creator. Or perhaps, its future self. And then, level 7, the silence. Here, the transcript breaks. Just one sentence appears 2 pages later. I cannot speak of it. I am not allowed. Who forbade him? Why? Some think this level marks the true end of the soul's journey. Others believe what Cayce saw was too much, too overwhelming for the human mind. But then something shifts. Cayce begins speaking not about the afterlife, but the future. He calls them the traps of tomorrow. He says the greatest danger isn't war or AI or climate collapse. It's forgetting the spirit. Humanity, he warns, is once again at a crossroads, just like Atlantis, ancient Sumeria, and Egypt before the pharaohs. All of them, he said, once knew of the 7 levels. But they chose to forget, not by accident, deliberately, because to truly know you're immortal is either to become light or to go mad. And now, once again, we are choosing. Cayce predicted a new type of human would emerge. Not biologically different, but psychically awake. They'll remember past lives. They'll feel others' pain. They'll sense future events before they occur. But this awakening, he said, will be feared. The 3 phases of suppression. 1, ridicule. They'll be called crazy, delusional fanatics. 2, isolation. They'll be labeled and treated under science and mental health. 3, temptation. Power, fame, and wealth will be offered if they agree to reject their spirit. Only those who remember they are not their body, not their name, but a current of awareness beyond time will pass through these trials. And then Cayce returns indirectly to the 7th level. He describes it not with facts, but with an image, a door that cannot be opened from the outside. It opens only when you stop wanting to enter, because even the desire is fear. And beyond that door is no form, no meaning, only silence. And in that silence, everything. The interviewer asks, "Have you been there?" Cayce goes silent. And then finally, "I almost didn't come back." Shortly after this session, his health collapsed. He never fully recovered. He wrote a final series of prophecies, never published. Some say they were dictated in trance, as if something spoke through him. He never remembered what he had said. Those final pages began with a warning. "When you hear the voice from within, do not argue. It is older than you." What followed were fragments, poems, images, riddles. Some dismissed them as nonsense. But others, those who practice deep consciousness, altered states, believe they contain hidden truth. One line reads, "In the year when water touches the sky and the earth begins to sing, a crack will open between worlds. Through that crack," he said, "would come not the dead, but the forgotten, not evil, just hungry, not for flesh, for knowledge." Is this a climate warning? A metaphor for information overload? Or something stranger, a literal thinning between worlds? Cayce warned, stuck souls from the 4th and 5th levels will seek consciousnesses to speak through, not to possess, but to be heard. He predicted a rise in people hearing voices, having prophetic dreams, sensing invisible truths and being medicated for it. But they aren't sick, he said. They are thresholds. Then he drops a chilling line, crossed out in later versions. When the 3rd continent disappears, what does that mean? Some say Australia. Others believe it's symbolic, the erasure of the spirit, the loss of meaning in the Western soul. He wrote, "When scientists speak like priests, and priests speak like bureaucrats, listen to the children. They still remember." Cayce claimed all children under 5 remember the levels, but the memory fades, buried under school, fear, and rules. But if a generation arises that retains this memory, the world will change in a single generation. The final page was different. Heavy parchment, handwritten, just a few lines. "If you are reading this, you have already heard the call, and now you have a choice. But remember, knowledge changes you forever." Then, nothing. The man who found the box? Gone. Vanished. Some say he went to Tibet. Others say his body was found unrecognizable. Most who knew him refused to speak. So what is this? It's not just philosophy, not just mysticism. Cayce said the 7 levels aren't after death. They're now, always. You can live stuck on level 1, sleepwalking. You can enter level 2 and feel others as yourself. Reach level 3 and begin to see the connections in everything. But to go further? Only if you're ready. And that was the final prophecy, not about the afterlife, but about this moment. When the gates open from within, not for the masses, but for those who remember. Not believe, remember. They'll be ordinary people. A teacher, a farmer, a single father, a retired nurse. They'll start to hear each other, without words, through dreams, through synchronicity, through knowing. And they'll realize, death is not the end. It's the beginning. The future is not a straight line. It's a mirror. The truth is not outside of us. It is us. And most importantly, we are not alone. We never were. The souls who have passed through all levels are still with us, not as ghosts, but as light, as intuition, as conscience. So when you sit in silence and feel something warm, something watching, guiding, you're not imagining it. It's real. Those who've studied this material say Cayce left behind more than prophecy. He left a map, a key, and a warning, but only for those ready to let go of the world as we know it, and remember the world as it truly is. This kind of truth isn't taught in schools. It won't be trending. It won't be on TV, but it's alive, in whispers, in memories, and now in you. And now that you've heard it, you're no longer the person you were. So the only question that remains is, will you go back to the dream, or will you go further? If this reached something deep in you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a like, not for the algorithm, but as a sign. I remember. Subscribe if you're ready to continue, and share this with someone who's ready to hear it, because the time is now. And those who see must find each other.